Hello, I'm James Preston and welcome to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks exclusive to Kalkine TV. In the modern world of big data, unstructured data is the most abundant. It's so prolific because unstructured data could be quite literally anything: video, audio, images, text data, and so much more. Unstructured simply means that the data is not stored in a structured way, but DMR, with its proprietary AI technology, emerges as a way to quickly transform the unstructured into structured. And to talk about how that process works, CEO of DMR, Michalis, Michael, joins me live now on Kalkine. Michalis, great to have you here.
Hi, great to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
No, it's a pleasure to have you. And Michalis, first things first, take us through what DMR and its subsidiaries does.
So we use machine learning or AI to annotate unstructured data, which is, as you said, text, audio, video, or images. What it is not, it's not numbers in tables, which makes it a little more difficult to analyze. 10, 15 years ago, the only way we had to understand unstructured data was to whether read it or listen to it or view it. But now we have AI, and that's what DMR does. It demystifies unstructured data.
I mean, look, to me it kind of sounds a little bit like that movie Lucy, where she pretty much takes on the role of a computer and starts downloading everything, can go through, you know, thousands of hours of various footage and then turn it into something meaningful. Is that basically how it works with your machine learning? It's able to pull all these pieces and then act almost like a person to make sense of it?
Yeah, well, not quite like a person yet. That would be strong AI, and we are still we're not there yet. That's you know, the optimists will say that's 10 years away. The pessimists might say end of the century. But weak AI or narrow AI, which is what we use, can tell us what's in large data sets with text or audio or images or video. And so I often joke and say with this technology, one can nowadays be omniscient. Yeah, you can basically gather everything there is on the internet and throw those machine learning models at it, and they will place it nicely on a dashboard, structured in a way that a human will be able to know what is the gist in a few minutes without having to read it at all. Wow. or view it or listen to it. Yeah.
No, that's quite incredible that you're able to do that. So why is it important, though, to analyze and comprehend unstructured data, and how can that be useful for various businesses?
Yeah, so there is a stat out there, I don't know if it's confirmed, but more than 95% of all recorded data in the human history is unstructured, right? And so this means that if companies are not using this technology to understand unstructured data, then they are only taking advantage of 5% of the data that is available to them to understand what their customers feel and think and what they want and what they are telling them in their call centers, through chat messages, emails, or on social media.
Well, let's take Spotify, for example, and podcast. I mean, there's so much of the audio medium in that format, and so many different podcasters, for example. I'll just pick one at random. Joe Rogan, he's probably the biggest podcaster in the world at this point. Now, obviously, he interviews all sorts of people, whether it be UFC people, comedians, or scientists. Would your machine learning capabilities with DMR, would that be able to go through his episodes and then sort of structure them in a way that says, oh, well, every time he interviews a UFC person, they go into this one, and then same thing for scientists and comedians. So it has the ability to do that at this point?
Yeah, so the most common AI models that we use for companies are the following. We use a model to annotate for sentiment or emotions, so we can tell what the person is feeling, the person who speaks or writes. We can annotate for topics and subtopics and attributes, so we categorize them this way. So what are they talking about? And then when it comes to customer experience management, which is the main use case for DMR, we also annotate those customer interactions with customer journey stage. Where are they on their customer journey in their relationship with a brand? But with regards to the podcast, yes, so we would annotate for all the topics and subtopics and the sentiment, and then we would be able to drill down into whatever has been said over hours of podcasts. I don't know for how many years this has been going on, but in a few minutes you could basically know the gist of these podcasts using this technology.
Really is incredible technology. Who do you think would be the businesses or industries will get the most use out of structuring this data? I know you mentioned CX as an experience there in general, but are there certain businesses or industries that really could use this quite a lot?
Yeah, well, every business that has a call center and they're interested in improving the customer experience, they should be using this technology. But what we see, usually the companies that are first in innovative technologies like this are the ones in the fast-moving consumer goods and retail. They tend to spend more money in marketing innovation and customer experience optimization.
Absolutely. Now, how does DMR innovate and stand out from the pack? And do you have any direct competitors that you're aware of?
Yeah, so the way we innovate is by doing R&D, and we were lucky enough to have received 7 R&D grants, 6 from the UK government and 1 from the European Union. And so we are constantly in beta mode, as we say about ourselves. We're constantly green tomatoes, as Toyota says, never ripe. So we research, develop, innovate, and then before we get to the end of what we envisioned, there is something new that we need to research and discover and follow. And so it's a sort of a zigzag to the latest technology and applications. As with competitors, yeah, there are quite a few companies that are in this customer experience measurement field, but most of them, they focused on surveys. They focus on asking customers questions in order to get their feedback. There aren't that many that I know of that use, for example, call center calls to know what their customers are telling them as a whole. I mean, they do get samples and they do get some idea of what is going on, but if they get like 20, 30,000 calls every week, they are not going to analyze all of them. And this technology can do exactly that.
Look, it well and truly moves past the point of surveys, that's for sure. Now, you made mention of customer experience. Obviously, user and customer experience has become a major focal point for many businesses over about probably past the half decade, I would say, maybe even up to a decade. How can CX and UX benefit from AI-based unstructured data analysis?
Well, that's the thing, right? They can know exactly what all their customers have been telling them through all those channels that they use to communicate with them. So it could, like I said, call centers, private chat messages, emails, social media, all the possibilities that are out there for a person to communicate or touch a brand can be, which are text and audio, right? Can be gathered on a platform and then with machine learning annotated for the sentiment, topics, the reason for calling, what is the pain point, what is the gain point, and that will help companies continuously improve.
Well, Michalis, just as we wrap up, how do you envision the future of AI technology on a global platform for producing accurate, actionable and timely intelligence to understand unstructured data?
Yeah, so a customer data platform of the future should be in a position to gather, ingest and integrate data from all possible channels. And we're not talking about samples of interactions, but we're talking about all interactions. So it's going to be big data, and they should be able to utilize AI to accurately annotate in any language. That is key in this global economy that we live in. If you have AI that understands English, that's not enough. It has to be all the languages where these companies are operating, and of course, we need to have the internal capability if a company wants to use this to take full advantage of the technology, the people, the systems, and the processes to respond to what customers are saying.
Absolutely. And lastly, where can we check out what you're doing? Is there a website, social media?
Yeah, both, all of that. So the website is www.digital-mr.com, and you can find us on Twitter at digitalmr or DMR.
Wonderful. Well, Michalis, thank you so much for your time today. It's been really interesting to chat.
Thank you for inviting me.
Well, that's Michalis, the CEO of DMR, and if you missed any part of that interview, you can catch the whole chat on our YouTube channel, Kalkine Media, so make sure to subscribe. That's all for now. I'm James Preston, reminding you to stay apprised and invest wise with Kalkine.